Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. Hi, my sugar bears. Um, I wanted to come on and just talk with you guys. Um, so they say that the only way to get over something is to go through it. So I wanted to talk about. Now, I've talked about this before, so I've talked about it before. But wait a minute, before I start talking, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know I am very inconsistent as hell on this thing, but I'm definitely going to try to be more consistent. So, okay, so I talked about my disability a little bit. I'm going to put the first video I did about it, but I'm going to talk about it more in length. So, it's okay. So, though I have cerebral palsy, what I'm learning to do now is to embrace it and embracing my disability. And I shouldn't say my disability, but I think the limitations has caused me to go into depression. I know it has. Um, I, for a long time, I just did not embrace it. I did not embrace the idea of, okay, you have a limit. Because I was taught and I was raised that you can do anything you put your mind to. This is just a setback for your comeback, that kind of thing. And granted, though I've been in hospitals, I've had surgeries done, I've seen every physical therapist you can name. I can go to any hospital in America and I will know immediately how to get around it. But I've never really embraced it on my own. And the one thing that I'm really realizing since living independently, completely independent, meaning no roommates, no mom, no family, just me, is that I have to embrace this and that there are limits to what I can and cannot do. For starters, I can walk around my house. My house is flat. It's flat, doesn't have stairs. I can go out, but here's the thing. Even going out is a bit of a challenge. And I may get a bit emotional in the video, so just bear with me. Because I think about like, okay, I don't drive. And the reason I don't drive is because, even though I actually can drive, but the reason I don't drive is because I have the type of cerebral palsy that I have. It affects my legs. It affects my legs and it affects the right side of the body. My left side is my better side. That's my good side. So driving for me, I can do it, but I probably shouldn't because my legs are very spastic. I have a lot of spasticity because of the nerves. And um, yeah. So driving can be a bit challenging. And for a while, I did drive. And I was told by my doctor, this was years ago, that getting behind the wheel isn't probably the best thing for me to do. So I had no choice but to turn in my driver's license and stop driving. And then you had Uber, fast forward a couple of years, you had Uber and Lyft come along. Now, here's the thing about Uber and Lyft for me. And if you are a disabled person on any level, whether it be a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, comment below. Okay, so maybe you can relate. And we can all form kind of a community together. So I have no problems with Uber and Lyft. But in my head, I think, okay, what if the car? And number one, I'm also short. I'm only 5'1". I know I look bigger, but that's because I come from big people. Nobody in my family is what we would call skinny or lean. Excuse me. Um, well, so um, I often think in my head, getting in and out of a car. I often think about What if it's the SUV and I have to climb into it? Like I think about things like that, and that's very difficult for me. And it makes me not want to go out. It makes me not want to socialize. And I have to admit, when I first moved to Houston, I was looking for someone to kind of take the place of my former friends and roommates. I was looking for that. I was looking for someone to kind of like, not, I don't want to use the word baby me, but I think, well, no, I'm just going to say it to do that. And the one thing that I am very grateful for, and even though it was a really harsh lesson for me, was that safety net that I built was gone. And it was totally up to me to really live in my truth and live independently. And I will admit, there are days where it is very difficult for me. There are times where I'm thinking in my head, okay, here I am, I'm about to be 40. And yes, age does factor into disability too, because you often think in your mind, what if your disability, what if as you get older, your disability actually gets worse? So for me, I often think in my head, okay, I'm about to be 40. How can I navigate my body changing? Because no matter what you do, your body's going to change. That's just a part of life. But I often wonder, how can I navigate that along with having a disability? Like even when I go out, even when I think about going to a restaurant, I automatically think, are there steps? Is there a ramp? Are there, you know what I mean? Like, and then you have to deal with, on top of that, you have to deal with people. I've had people come up to me and say, I'm so happy to see you out and about. Mind you, they don't know me. They don't know me from a can of paint. But I've had people say that to me. I've had people, and I know people mean well, but I've had people break down and cry. Hold on, it feels like hold on, y'all. Okay. I thought I cut myself. Okay, I didn't. Okay, good. Um, but I've had people break down and cry as I'm walking to, what do they call that? The gate of a plane. Like if I travel, I'm walking to the gate of a plane because I walk with a cane. Actually, I'll show it to y'all. I think you've seen it before. I walk with this. I use this to walk around. So I've had people, you know, like break down in tears, seeing me walk to the gate, and I'm just like, I'm walking. And I know, like I said, I know people mean well, but at the same time, it can be very. The word I want to use is demoralizing. I mean, I'd be using that word in the right context, but it can be because it makes you feel as if something is wrong. You know what I mean? Like something's wrong with you. And I know people, like I said, and I'm going to do a video on that too in more length. People don't mean to be, people don't know how that makes us feel, people who have disabilities. But it does. It's like, well, damn, well, what's wrong with us? Or if we often hear, like I often hear it all the time, what happened? What happened to you? What's wrong? And in my mind, nothing's wrong. But the one thing I've come to realize these past couple of weeks is that not that there's anything wrong with me, but I have to embrace what people see. But I have to embrace it on my own terms. And I'll give you a good example. So, as you guys know, living here in Texas, you get a lot of rain. Texas is very flat. So, um, one day I'm going to pay the rent. I'm gonna go pay the rent, right? And mind you, going outside, I live on the technically I live on the first floor, which is not a ground floor, but I live up above. So I have to go. So in order for me to go onto the ground, I have to go outside, um, take the elevator, and then walk a few more, like, you know, walk across the street to the leasing office to pay my rent. So I go to do it, and the leasing office is closed because it was during the 4th of July weekend. I didn't realize it was going to be closed on Monday. So as I'm doing it and as I'm leaving, I realize that the office is closed. It starts to rain. And it doesn't rain like trickle. It rains like torrential. And I'm walking back to my apartment, and the rain is coming down, coming down, coming down, and my joints are starting to lock up. My body is starting to ache. I'm hearing pops and things that I've never heard, you know, and people, and I keep falling. I keep falling down, scraping my knee, scraping my foot. I'm ruining my shoes. That's one thing that happens too. Because with my gait, with the way I walk, one leg is longer than the other. So I walk kind of lopsided like that. Um, and so I'm walking back to my apartment, or I'm trying to, in the rain, and people are stopping me. People are like, "Let me help you. Let me help you get your shoe back on." Da 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 da. And in my head, I'm thinking, it's not your burden to bear. Like, it's not, and I'm saying no to people. I'm going, I got it. No, thank you. Though you can clearly see I'm in pain. You can clearly see um, I'm not comfortable. You can clearly see that it's difficult for me to just walk across the street. And I just didn't want to show that weakness. And it sounds really silly, but it's true. Just didn't want to show it. And I came home, and I finally made it back to my apartment, soaking wet, socks, like everything, just wet. Came back home, got into my house, and I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I just came home. I took off all my clothes. I put them in the wash machine, started the wash machine, and just went into my bathroom, took a shower. And as I'm going to the bathroom and as I'm going to the shower and getting in the shower and making sure the water is at a good temperature for myself, I'm hearing something that, though I know, well, I don't know if he meant what he said, but I'm hearing something that someone said to me when I was about to move, when I was about to move here. And he said to me, "You're never going to make it on your own." They said to me, excuse me, "You're never going to make it on your own." And in my mind, I heard it over and over again. And I just heard, like, you're nothing. Like, you're never going to make it. And there are moments where I won't lie. I hate, how do I say this? I hate my disabled body. I'm just going to say it. There are moments where I do hate it because I look at people who are able bodied, who, like, the things that we take for granted. You can walk, you can run, you can go and attend. Not saying that I can't do those things, I just do them differently. But you can go attend a dance class, and if you just stretch your body out, you good to go. Whereas someone like myself, I can go and attend a dance class, yes, but it takes a little bit more time for me to understand it. Or you can go to a club and it not be an issue for you, to be in a crowd. Whereas with me, it is because I'm bumping into people, and it's funny because ever since the lockdown, with the pandemic, and now that I mean, let's be real, Texas really didn't lock itself down. But when they lifted everything, I was like, oh, I can go out. But the first thing I thought was, okay, so now you got to pick where you want to go. And you have to pick places that are going to be accessible for you. And, I'm a pretty independent person, but I think I know, I shouldn't say I think, I know this. I've never really seen myself as a disabled person until now. You know what I mean? I think living on my own and getting older is really making me see it. And I'm not gonna lie, part of it is very sad for me. Part of and it's not just sad. It's I get I get I'm like, and I don't like to say this, but I'm mad. It's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm angry. I'm angry at myself because it's like, how did you not own this? How did you not see it? You know what I mean? And now I've had no choice but to see it. And granted, it's been hard. It's been really hard embracing, like, yes, baby, you have limits. But we all do. Let's keep it real. We all have a limit somewhere. But I think for me, my limit is something that I can't hide. You know what I mean? I've watched the Netflix show Special where the guy's like, I got hit by a car, and I can't say shit because I used to say that. But I realized I can't hide that. I can't hide that I have a disability. And like I said, I will do more on this subject, but I just wanted to come on and talk about it. Because to be honest with you, that's one of the main reasons why I've been so inconsistent with, you know, um, uploading content for y'all. Because, there are moments where with my disability, it makes me so depressed to where I don't want to get out of bed. I just don't. I don't want to even interact. I don't want to interact with the world sometimes. There are moments where I'm like, just let me stay in the bed. Just let me do nothing. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I don't want anyone to take care of me, and though I know that's not true and I know I'm not a burden, but there are moments that I do feel like that. I won't lie and say I don't. And I think, if anything, this is really teaching me you got to learn. It's not just embracing my disability, but embracing self. And it's shadow work, really, and really just really saying, you know what, you got to embrace the parts of you that you don't like or that you've never paid attention to. You know what I mean? And like the simplest things, like cooking or washing clothes or going to get the mail. That can be, for me, that's a bit of a trek. But I push through. I push through, honey. I push through boots because I'm starting to understand that it's okay to have limitations. Limitations don't make you any less. Does it make me sad sometimes? Of course it does. Do I beat myself up sometimes? Of course I do. Um, and I honestly think if are there moments where are there moments where I'm thinking, ooh, I wonder if I wasn't a disabled person, like physically as disabled as I am, would my life be different? And I think it would be. I think I would be a different person. I don't think I would be as compassionate. I don't think I would be as empathetic. But it's this whole journey is really allowing me to see myself. Like now, I'm actually in the process of doing physical therapy. I have a physical therapist that comes to my home, and she's wonderful. I forgot her name, Lord. Well, I know her name, but I don't want to put her business out. But she's really nice. And I told her, I said, well, if anything, you're making me embrace my disability. And she is. I said, by me doing this, I'm owning it. I'm owning my body. To me, that's what body positivity means. But that's a whole nother show. But in my mind, that's what it means. So doing physical therapy, doing the exercises every morning, every day, it's just making me realize, like, yes, baby, you have limitations, and you're gonna have some moments where you don't like yourself. You're gonna have some moments where you don't like the limits life has placed on you, but you have to learn to work with them, instead of against. And for a long time, I not only was working against them, but I was in denial. about it. Like I have friends that live in New York and other parts of the country, and I'm going, oh, I would love to go visit, but then I think in my head, well, do they have a place that's handicap accessible? Like I think about things like that. I think about in dating. I think about in sexual situations. Because oftentimes, and I'm gonna do a video on those on all these things. I often think in my mind, not can you handle it? Well, yeah, can you handle it? Can you handle, in dating, can you handle that? That you're dealing with somebody that has limits that I like, say a person invites me to like what's it? Oh, it's the trampoline place, Sky Zone. I think that's the name of it. You invite me to Sky Zone, I'll be like, I don't know if I can do that. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a good old college try, but I often think about things like that. So, which makes me reluctant to really want to enjoy life. Like, and I know and I know this may sound really silly, but it does. It makes me reluctant to really want to do stuff because I'm thinking in my head, well, what if they don't have, like living here in Texas, I can tell you, I have not seen a lot of handicap friendly places. Like I'm just gonna be honest, I haven't. And I could be wrong. Correct me, please correct me in the comments. Who, of those of you who live in Texas or you live in Houston, primarily Houston, please let a brother know because I could be wrong. But in my experience, and I've only been here for 3 years, I haven't seen that yet. But I often think about that. I think about that when I go into a grocery store or a restaurant. And what people don't understand is that can be so draining. Like even that, like even getting up, say you get up to take a shower, you get yourself together. Like even in that, you're thinking about, well, what can I wear? Okay, well, what can I, like that whole thing can really wear you out. So by the time you do all that, you don't want to go anywhere, you know? So it's just, yeah, that's why I've been absent. That I haven't really been feeling well physically. But that's why I've been absent from making videos. I've been posting on my wall, but I haven't really been making videos because I've been really dealing with that and dealing with the fear of, having to own my disability and not only own it, but embrace it and acknowledge it. Because like I said, for a long time, oh, I got it, I can do anything. And in the world, you get out there in the world, and the world's like, honey, sure you can. Keep telling yourself that. And I'm not saying that I want to be like not on a log. That's not what I'm saying. But I think just acknowledging, like, okay, yes, I have limits. I can do things as you, but I have to do it in a way that is, what's the word? It's like a recipe. I have to do things that make sense to me, you know? So it's really challenging, but challenges are good. And I'm the kind of person where if I'm not challenged, I won't, you know what I mean? Like I won't grow from it. So if anything, this has been a very growing and developing experience. And I know that by doing even the physical therapy, by me talking about this with you guys on here, it's making me come to terms with it and saying like it's okay, you know. And granted, I was born with CP, but in my growing up, I wasn't treated like by family and stuff. I wasn't treated differently. Even in school, not really. Like, well, you know what? I take that back. Family, not so much. School, yes, like in public, yeah. But even in that, I ignored it or I overachieved. Like I overcompensated. Like if it wasn't so, if people in school, teachers and staff and students are like made fun of my disability, I was like, well, no, look what I can do. I may not be able to walk correctly, but I can sing. I can talk. I'm relatable. I can make you laugh. So I overcompensated a lot, and I think now it's just that as I'm getting older, it's really coming home. You know what I mean? And like I said, I may not make any sense, but that's what I'm starting to understand. and that it's okay to have fears. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm a little scared about this, about as I'm getting older, my body is changing, and and not just getting older because I keep dwelling on that, but just the truth and living in my truth and saying, yes, I am a disabled person, but I'm not helpless. And I think for a long time, I was not only told that by people, but I told myself that you needed somebody. And now it's like life is saying, baby, you don't. You just have to learn how to navigate it on your own. So that's what I'm doing one day at a time. I thank you guys so much for listening. I know I probably rambled a little bit, but I really wanted to explain my absence. But also I just wanted to talk about that. And if you guys can relate, if you guys can understand where I'm coming from, please comment below. Let me know what you think of this video. Don't worry, I do plan on coming back tomorrow. I was gonna do the card of the week, but the week's almost done. So I'll probably do that next week. But I definitely want to talk about more subjects on here. So until next time, my sugar bears, thank you so much for watching, for listening to me ramble. And I'll talk to you later. Okay? Bye.